Buddy, good morning. Rongamer, John, Kevin, Ted, Svenborn, Will, David, Mad, Ted, Darren. Hey, everybody. General Rush, Gary, Mark, Amy, Don, Arturo, Frank, Sergio, Ivan, Dan, Rob, Jason, Rex. Good to have everybody, all my channel members, and all the subscribers. Larry, Donald, Craig, Rosalind, Merle, Anthony, welcome everybody. Michael Wade. Glad to have you. And Tesla. Interesting, right? It was a drop and then it was a pop and then I don't know. Elon talked it up a little bit and it's amazing he didn't tank it, talking about a $10 trillion company or something like that. I mean, absolute insanity going on. And then Meta beat by a large margin, and Microsoft, what the reaction last night wasn't so great. I guess we'll see how it actually opens here today. Market wasn't loving Microsoft last night. Definitely not too good. And it looks like it's still down pretty good when we look at the chart here, all the way down here. Oof. 20 points down. Coming up to the uptrend of lows there. Not looking too awesome for Microsoft. Had the setup. Looks like it's not gonna, we're gonna go down here. Now, do we fail it or not? I mean, the earnings weren't bad. It just was disappointing, I guess. Kind of shows you never know what the market's gonna react to. The chart pattern was already like, looks like it'll go higher, but I don't know. And then Meta over here, we had, this one I'm going to have to scroll down. I mean, we had that potential to go on higher, way on higher, like up to 1,000 almost, but incrementally higher, 20 points, which seems like nothing on Meta when you look at it. About a 3%. The big winner last night, at least when I went to sleep, was this one, up like 5% or something. Almost 4.5% now. It was up 5% when I went to bed. Not too shabby. It was down. I mean, if we go look at pop this up down here, change this to extended hours. We had a drop, and then we had a pop, and then we had and then it came back almost to the bottom. Now we're back up near the top. I don't know. We'll see what happens. If they can hold that low there, we could go ripping right up to those upper targets. So, guess we'll see what happens. All right. So before we talk about any trades, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. That means if you trade it, you might lose money, or you probably lose money. I mean, this game is the hardest game in the world. I talked about that quite a bit yesterday. Hopefully, those of you hear me. And past performance, not necessarily indicative of future results. That means just because I predict it doesn't mean it'll come true. It's because Rob, the charts are what matters, not the earnings. The earnings don't matter. It's funny enough. It's just, how do you read the tea leaves on the charts? That's a difficult part, but I get it right more than I get it wrong, but, I may never get it right again. This presentation is intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining. Hopefully you're entertained. If not, there's plenty of other things you can go do, I mean, let's be honest. Like, there's a lot of stuff you can go do. And it's not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instruments, so don't buy stocks, options, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries, bonds. Don't long them, don't short them, don't trade them. If you desire personal financial advice, somebody tell you what the buttons to push. It's not me. I don't do that. Go hire and consult a financial advisor. I'm not even, trying to hype up and tell you, oh, if you just do what I do, you can make thousands of dollars in the market. It's bullshit. Bullshit, I say. Call a spade a spade. It's bullshit. All right. Coming up this week, we had the FOMC, and they left rates alone. Didn't really change the tune at all. Just kind of, we hung, stay in the 4.25 to 4.5 range. I thought they'd stay the same because they caught the market rate. Jerome Powell, it kind of dropped a little bit, and then Jerome Powell talked it back up a little bit, and it's just then it just kind of chopped at the end of the day. We'll look at that price action and try to see if it tells us where we're going. But we did hold above the downtrend of highs that we've had, and we back tested on Monday. If we can maintain that, that's a bullish bias at this point. So we'll get into the chart here in a minute. And today we have, today's the 30th, right? Yeah. We had the advanced GDP. A little lower. Probably going to keep being lower as we cut more and more government spending. Unemployment claims came in. That's an amazingly low number, really. And maybe it's all the people we're getting rid of. Advanced GDP price index, 2.2, coming down a little bit. We'll get some pending home sales at 10 o'clock. I expect it to be light, maybe a negative reaction in the market. And then tomorrow, this is kind of the next big show. Right there, we get the PCE, Powell's favorite inflation hit number right there. Powell suggesting inflation kind of coming back. And I don't know. Rob Rongemer and I were kind of talking about it. I mean, it's not. We had this conversation kind of yesterday that they released the Model 3 refresh in 2024, like April, whatever, and the stock went up. And then they released the Model Y just before earnings this time, and it wasn't in the earnings, but just before earnings, and up. I don't know. Maybe refreshed models indicates we're going to go up. So be careful. I had wrong ride. I described my full self-driving drive last night in the Cybertruck. I have 13.2.4. Full self-driving 13.2.4 is the version on my truck right now. And they have 13.2.5. I haven't gotten it yet out, but I did the longest, most difficult drive, probably the most difficult drive I've ever tried to do with full self-driving. And it was the longest drive I've done with 13.2.4. I was on 12 so long, I'm stuck on 12. 13.2.4. I tell you what, it was pretty darn amazing. I didn't touch the wheel one time. It merged in heavy traffic that was being crazy. Like, I couldn't even keep track of. There were people in the right 2 lanes trying to get on the interstate. There were people, on the interstate to go downtown Knoxville. There were people on the left 3 lanes trying to get off onto the bypass for Knoxville as I came on the exit. And I mean, there were literally people, slamming on brakes and flipping back and forth lanes. And the truck got in there and was aggressive and just freaking merged right through it all. I was like, that did at least as good as I would have done. And I mean, it did no hard braking through the whole process. It accelerated up and kept people from cutting us off. I was like, this thing's pretty good. And then, we drove all the way down through downtown and took my dad home in the south part of town. And he had to take his truck to the shop, and it's in the body shop for a few days. So I had to give him a ride home last night. And he was like, compared to when we rode with this thing back in like September, this thing's dang smooth now. And, all the construction over near his house on Alcoa Highway, we just drove right through it all, no problem. People being crazy there. And, it was freaking sweet. But the reason you don't hear about complaints as much on full self-driving anymore is it's just freaking good at driving. Then it drove me all the way home I never took over once. It did scare me merging onto Alcoa Highway through the construction. It scared me, but it didn't, was no safety issue. I was just like, whoa, I think it expected a longer acceleration lane, but it made the right decisions. Anyway, moving on. Let's see what we got today. It's getting crazy good. I'll keep trying it out too. It was an adventure. I mean, I didn't feel at risk. It just, I was just like, oh, I'm not sure it expected the lane to end that fast, but it accelerated it goosed it real hard and then cut over into the lane is why I was like, whoa. I was just like, whoa. Anyway, scared. Yeah, I guess surprised might be a better word, but I was just like, whoa. Anyway, S&P yesterday, nice. I mean, we're still holding the uptrend, sitting on the 15-minute roadmap line as we went into the close. I don't know. We seem to be up today, though, on ES, but still sitting on the roadmap line here. At least the cash index and the futures are in alignment here. Take the FOMC meeting off. We did have, you can see the little bit of volatility. Not really much, though. I mean, that was it. Right there. That was it. That's all we got. And then we've kind of stabilized here. We're still at a lower high than we were just a couple days back. Yesterday, really. And still at a higher. We're still in this channel. Still in the channel. That came from the zoom out. That box comes from back over here where we consolidated. Zoomer up, zoomer up, zoomer up. Right there, that topping action we had from back in late December around Christmas. That's where that box comes from, and we're having a hard time getting through it. We'll see what we can do here. Yesterday I was still cautious because NASDAQ, like ES here, this is S&P 500. We made a higher high right there. We did that right there, right? And then we dipped all the way back to the downtrend highs. Well, NASDAQ didn't do that. Like, we came up with a much lower high. Much is all relative, I guess. Much lower high, and then back tested even deeper all the way back to the July highs. And then not showing the most enthusiasm here, even into today. You can say, oh, well, that's because of the AI thing. Maybe. Just showing a little less enthusiasm for going higher. Makes me a little cautious here. This is is this correction done here? Not 100% sure. Not 100% sure. This is when you run the high to the low, we're still sitting right at that 618 right there. Let me zoom her up. See that 618 right there? We're parked right on it. Right there. That can lead to extension down. I'd like this to quit being muddy and murky and confusing and provide some clarity. Russell, same kind of boat. We have the major resistance for the big 618 right there above us. Still being just like, that almost seemed unfazed yesterday. So, my crystal ball is cracked and my unicorn dust isn't working today. It's a difficult moment in the market until, I guess we're just trying to digest what's happening with Trump and everything, but what's going to be the catalyst that shoots us higher or crashes us out lower? I'm not sure. Seems like the risks are bigger than the potential upside, but I mean, we've kind of been in this sideways consolidation for 7 months. When you really zoom out and look at it, I mean, we haven't really gone much of anywhere, especially on NASDAQ. Look, I mean, that we touched a July high on Monday. I mean, that's not really going anywhere since July. So, I don't know. Are we going to do a blow off top? Maybe. I mean, that's kind of what I think. Now, what I kind of got the feeling we're going to do, we're going to get something's going to like break loose. We're going to get real sparky, do kind of one of these, and then start a downtrend for a while. Something in there. I don't know if it'll be to this number or this number. That's kind of what I feel like we're going to do on NASDAQ. ES probably right along. We have been a little more bullish here. We could see it pop up into this upper area. You know, this pullback back here from July, we're already sitting up here. Look at that. I mean, we've already hit the 272. 2618 there. We could hit the 3618. That's possible. 4618 or 4236. That gets a little sketchy. I don't think we're going above 7 though. You've heard me say that. I don't see the case for going above 7. You come up here, certainly. 65, 67, 66 was my years ago. I predicted we'd get up to 66. Anybody remember that? Like when I first became a guru, I was like, we're going to do this correction and we're going to shoot up and probably get up to 66. Now we're in the neighborhood. Wouldn't that be crazy if that's where we top 66 and then probably go down below 4,000? Wild. Oil, struggling. Trump has his way. Yeah, Trump wants lower oil prices so he can fill the strategic petroleum reserve. So if Trump has his way, come back down here, come back down here, come back down here, maybe down to $50 or so. 50 seems like the low if we're going down. So, yeah, Bitcoin's up today too. So, GC, that's the contract rollover. Don't get fooled. We did roll over the contract. That made the pop. Now, gold does seem to be up a little bit, but not a lot of it. So that's the contract, mostly the contract rollover. We're not actually breaking out higher yet. Caution here. This could take it back here before we go on up. Just be careful. It's always difficult on the contract rollover. Although silver, look at this, baby. On that contract rollover. Ooh, baby. We can stick this. Could be indicating we're cruising on up. $60. We did get spicy yesterday. Going into the close. Pushed through. Not totally convinced yet. I kind of want to see, just like all the other charts, kind of want to see it come back test that breakout. Then we're ready to go. Bitcoin. It's funny all the names people call it, Bitcoin and Buttcoin and all sorts of stuff I hear. And like, people just talk crap about it, but this thing winding it up, kind of like the S&P, kind of like, not more like NASDAQ, kind of winding it up here. Consolidating right under the highs. And we're probably going to pop up in this zone right here, somewhere between 115, 125. I'm rounding a little bit. Probably pop up in that area next, and then do another consolidation before we can go on up and meet the ultimate high. I still on the path. Still expect 150, 170. I think miners might start going a little crazy if we get into this zone right here. It's something to keep an eye on. Ethereum didn't bust down and make a lower low. So still watching for this. We could turn down off of that downtrend of highs and go down. That's still in the cards. This is still a downward bias, even though we're being pinned in by the supports and the resistance here. Running out of runway here. we're going to have to, one way or another, we're going to go below the roadmap line or we're going to go above that downtrend of highs because we're running out of runway. There's not much more not much more room here. Or it either breaks up or breaks down. And breaking up may just be more than that, just sideways. Dollar. As I said, we're probably coming down here, and then we'll see what happens. More than likely. NKD, still consolidating, kind of in the middle of the range. Watch for another leg down. If that does that, it's going to suck the U.S. market down. If we actually go pop out above this prior high right here, yeah, that was like a fake out right there. Faked it out and then dropped it. We can break it back above that high. Probably going on up to 44. That's why I always say, like, a spike doesn't change anything. That was kind of a spike up, and then we took it right back very hard. That shows the market didn't like that. And we keep getting, we get these big spikes up and a rejection, big spike up and a rejection, big spike up and a rejection, and a big spike up and a rejection. And we keep doing that over and over. Over and over and over. So can we actually break out, get a sustained move up, or are we going to keep rejecting it? That's global liquidity for you right there. Before we go too deep, let's talk about Apple. Earnings today still looks ripe for a pop. We are not above the 618. Not above the 618, though. This would be a little bit of a gamble. If you want to play it with options, you can. Kind of dangerous, of course. AAPL. It's another way to play without losing a bunch of theta, without losing a bunch of IV, implied volatility. Has the same kind of potential. That high, that low. 45 on the upside. So you can make about 33% if this were to pop right up in there to the target. Not too shabby. You can play as cheap as 33.83 right now for one share. It's not a bad way to play. And be careful on leverage. Leverage does cut both ways. If it fails, it'll, cut you right down here. But it's not like options where it's going to go to zero. I mean, it's got a long way to go to zero, so controls your risk a little better, I feel like. But you have to play shares. If you play options on this, you're on your own. Be careful. All right. I go pull everything moving $2 or more up, put it on the gainers list, $2 or more down, put it on the decliners list, and we got a heck of a list today, like 101 tickers, and I have a bonus trade coming up at the end. So, dun 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 dun. ASML climbing a little bit, still in a downtrend. Watch out for the dip. I mean, I keep warning this. Feels like I've been talking about this for weeks and weeks. Probably heading down here would be my guess. I'm not trading it. I'm not putting my money where my mouth is on this one. We've been holding this downtrend under the roadmap line. I mean, we had a big negative reaction here. Here, we had a relatively big negative reaction again. Not able to get through it. I think it kind of resolves everything if we get this spike down to the low 600s. We'll see, though. It doesn't have to. IBM, big winner on earnings last night. Look at that baby go. Beat on the top, missed on the bottom. You ever hear somebody say that? It's beat on earnings, missed on revenue. Top number, bottom number. That's pretty much universal across almost every platform when you hear that. Like top number, bottom number. Top is earnings, bottom number is revenue. And there's like 7 more numbers involved in earnings, but those are the only 2 that everybody seems to care about. That's partly why you can't ever predict earnings, because there's like 7 more numbers that nobody ever talks about. That's really the big picture story, is like, how's the company doing? Those other numbers really matter. So that popped up. That's probably well into the targets for that correction back here. Yep. At the 1272. So May retrace back to the breakout there. Back to that 237 area. Could see a little bit of a pullback and then bounce and cruise on up to that. Oh, that's cool. Crashed the tab. Yeah, that's cool. That's decoupled. 261 right there. CLS came down, did not hit the roadmap line. Nice pop. If that was it, close above the 4-hour roadmap line, could set it up for a 138 target. Meta, like I said, this has a next upside target all the way up here, 950 to 1,000 area, way up here. If it just does that, probably going to come back at some point and do whatever consolidation over here. Tesla, taking it back. Still maintaining an uptrend of lows. Taking it back. Caught some people off guard there. Do we stick it? Or do we break down and come down here? Is that just was that, now look, was this, check this out, was this the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? And this be the A, the B, and this be the C. And then we go higher. I don't know. We'll see. If we make a lower low, we're gonna have to make, to be technically complete, we need a lower low than that right there. Stay frosty, my friends. Be careful. Nothing's clear. This could take it right back. You're like, what the heck even happened? Could take it right back, make a lower low than we saw right over there. Maybe hit the roadmap line. It's all still in the cards. KLAC. Nice 4-hour bounce. Nice daily bounce. See, it has this big pattern. Bounced off that 618 area. Now it's got a little baby pattern inside. Only takes it up to 800 if we complete that. So you may see this bounce up here, bounce down here, bounce up here, bounce down here, bounce. Something like that. Might be what we get into with KLAC. TCX. Well, that just turned and burned. That's it. That's funny. It says commercial services, but it's a therapeutics company. I don't know. You tell me. Resistance or target at 6382. If that one's going on up. TMO. Thermo Fisher Scientific. Set to go up to 651. Say all the numbers. AVGO. That might be it. We don't have to go down on the roadmap line. And Jody, you got your chance to get out. I think you booked it. Next pop, return back to the highs or even a higher high. This was a 4-hour bounce at this point. Activates the higher move at 230. This could go cruising up to 260. Earnings don't happen until out here in late February. See what happens. GE Vernova, pop it again. Closes above, this 4-hour pattern right here. The daily pattern didn't really hit. So there is a resistance at that 618. We get above it, close above it, go cruising on up. S&P. Zoomer up, zoomer up, zoomer up. Zoomer back out. And pushing through that. I was looking for it to push on through. I actually did a trade at 670 yesterday. I was hoping it would pop on FOMC. Didn't quite do that. Now we're pushing through though. Of course. Of course, now. If I had gone one day out, I would have made money. Oh well. C'est la vie. Back down to it. CEG. That still looks like it wants to come down to the roadmap line. Careful on energy. TLN, be careful on energy. I'm telling you. Was this the fleece and we go higher? I don't know. I don't know. Got that big gap down. We've got that high, got that low. Resistance right there at the 618. Resistance at the gap. Be careful. TT, you know, like perma-cautious here. TT looks like we're coming on down. Despite the pop list, you know, it's already turning red. Spotify, pushing on up. Next resistance up there around 610. Then the top of the box. Yeah. The box is in there because of when things get a little extra sparky, we tend to outperform a little bit. Then we come back and then we go on up. See, this didn't retrace to the back breakout here. So we're getting a little sparky. We could be a little extra, come back down, and then go for that higher level up around 1100. Be pretty wild on Spotify. App may go cruising on up to 445. ISRG. We're up there in hypoxic air. We might need a retrace. It's been, shoot, you know, over a year since we retraced to the roadmap line. GS, we can go shooting on up to 659. MA, getting hypoxic up here. Be careful. It's going straight the frick up. 605 maybe. LRCX. I'm a trend pullback continuation. I like to get these, you know, relatively small wins over and over, and go for when stuff is corrected. I like to go for the big patterns. You know, like everybody's like, "Why are you so bearish on Nvidia?" You know, just to pull this up and talk about it. I was bullish on Nvidia here, and that's where I got in. I got out up in here. And then it's done this. Am I sad I missed out? No. I got a big chunk and made several, you know, made over 100%. Don't remember exactly. Now I'm just waiting for the next opportunity that, like this one, set up back here. That was a big move. Like, now in between there, I like to go for the little repeatable moves. You know, this one bounced here, made the target. Bounced here. Is it going to pop up, make the target, or are we going to crush it and come down here? I actually own puts because I kind of expect this to roll. I expect a bigger pullback, and then we can trade it again. So on these ones that just get hypoxic, just be careful. Like going straight up like that. How often does MasterCard just go straight up and keep going? Well, it looks like it takes it back pretty hard. Right? How high can it go? Not sure. When it starts reversing, though, it's probably going to come back pretty hard. Be careful. LRCX is like under the roadmap line, even with the pop. VST has that big gap. Could be a 4-hour bounce. Seeing a lot of these 4-hour type bounces I've set up here. Break back above the 618. We could be heading up to 212, 223. AMAT. This one still needs some downside. You know, we're under the roadmap line on the daily. If you want that, if you're new here and you're like, roadmap line, why do you keep talking about that? Go to the channel homepage underneath me here, click my name, you know, and go to the channel homepage. The video pinned to the page says my favorite indicator for free. Yeah, right there. I give you the code for it for free. Now, if you want an easy button, you just click and put on your chart. It does cost $5. The link for that's in the description down below. You click the more button. It's right there. It's like $5. Less than a Starbucks, you know. Be careful, though. It's not the answer to all your problems. It's my favorite pattern. We see it play out over and over. WM closes above the 618. Get the move up here. Marvell. Chips, not superheroes. 4-hour bounce. Potential to go higher. That was weird. Hit the delete button and it jumped back to the other chart. Must have hit 2 keys, I guess. That has the potential to go up there. That looks like a 4-hour bounce. This roadmap line works on all time frames. All right. It's just the lower you go, the weaker it is. Like we muddy up the 1 minute way more than we muddy up the 5 minute. Then the 15 minutes stronger than the 5 minute. The 30 minutes stronger than the 15 minute. The 1 hour stronger than the 30 minute. The 4 hours stronger than the 1 hour. The daily stronger than the 4 hour, and the weekly even stronger. And then the monthly above that, but you know, we don't get many monthly bounces. I mean, you see right there. Nice and strong. But over here, it was just muddy. And then it's been all the way back here since the monthly. You see the monthly respected pretty strong. Big moves off of that. That's I mean, so it all combines together. ANET bounce right there, close above here, target up there, 139. IIPR resistance up here. It still looks pretty nasty. Be careful. I'm not sure that's the bottom yet. It may come down into the 50s, the low 50s there. MSTR. So you can kind of see what I'm... Yeah, I should leave that on there. So it did the bubble pattern, all right? Like, if you're new here, there's a pattern that looks like a reversal. I call it the bubble pattern. It's very, like, we see it over and over. We started breaking down, but then we stopped, and we came back up again. But it could just be an A, a B, and a C, and take us down in here. That's the cautionary thing. But we keep holding this uptrend of lows pretty well. Right there. If we can turn it and burn it, you know, this isn't a trend line. That's just a copy of this line right there. That right there is a copy. If we save that uptrend of lows, break back above that 618, the target's up here around 1,000. Absolute crazy. You know, conservative target around 600, but 1,000 if Bitcoin goes on up. That could be pretty wild. But it also can do this. So it's like, well, that's not very clear, JT. Yeah, this chart's not very clear. And that's why most people do what I do are very intellectually bankrupt. You know, that they'll sell something so hard. It's going up, it's going up, it's going up, and it goes down like 20%. They're like, it's going up, it's going up, it's going up, and then it goes up like 50%. And you're like, Eric, I told you. And it like doesn't even make a higher high. And, you know, come on. Don't play that crap. This one, if it's going up, it's going up. If it's not, it's not. It's not very clear at the moment. That's very overlapping so far. What do I mean by overlapping? It means this high right here, skip a low, skip a high, and this low right here, overlap. That's overlap. Not extremely bullish. That's a 3-wave up. That meets the criteria to get the continuation down into this low right here. Be careful on MSTR. Deck. I would love to see that retrace at this point. That's extension target at 220. Could it go higher? 268, 297. Could. Very low probability. This purple one, 1448. That's like 75% likely. First one, 1272, it's like 70% likely on the pattern. This one, 1618, drops down to like 35, 40% likely. This one up here, even lower, even lower. You know, you kind of get the picture, right? It's like an exponential drop off as we go higher without retracing back to the roadmap line. VRT. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, now you want AVGO to run to the highs. I know. We might get there. VRT sitting on the roadmap line. If we get to close above, SMH sitting on the roadmap line, not looking particularly strong, but we did hold kind of an uptrend of lows that goes back all the way to this low. This one was kind of a fake out low. Be careful. Louis, Las Vegas Sands here. Louis. I don't know why I said that. Louis. Be careful here. And reject. Logitech was on a ripper. Still on a ripper. Potentially going to break out. Target is up here, like 168. If we can actually stick the rip right here. Somebody calling me. I have to dismiss that. And let's see. WDC. Hanging out on the roadmap line, not being particularly strong, indicating either way. VLO. And just kind of hanging here. Hanging. That looks like it's on the path to coming down here. Roadmap line. Be careful. TSLR. 2x leverage on Tesla. Be careful. That's come back down. Basically filled that gap back down. Might come down to the roadmap line. TSM. Choppy. We get the close above the 618. Potential going up. FAS. Potential to hit 192. TSLT. And like I said, be careful on this. Taking it all back. Looking like Tesla. Took it all back on the overnight pop. Starting to get little sour grapes here. Actually, I'll put an alert right there and right here. That's turning negative. Coca-Cola. SOXX. Choppy sideways. Nasty price action. FSLR. And we hit the target. This could turn around, but it's not doing it yet. Gave up the overnight gains. DPST, if we can get above that 618, we could go cruising on up to 189. ATHE. Well, that was a ridiculous pop. Be careful. Watch out for the retrace. Reddit. Still hypoxic. Wait for the retrace. Win. Resistance at that roadmap line area. Watch for the drop. I kind of want to see it hit there. Now it could hold the higher low. That could have been close enough. Right there. Moving stuff. I'm not even trying to move. That could be, see, this could be a wind up like a 618 bounce, a 618 bounce. We break above the downtrend of highs. This could be heading all the way up here like 170. Be a pretty good one. That's almost a double just on shares right there. Opportunity. If you believe that was the low and we're going to hold it and go, break it above the daily roadmap line might be the indication. Eat. Breaker International, ripping higher. Man, doesn't look like the consumer's got any problems there. When's the last time that went vertical? Never. There was one right there, consolidated, and then kept going. Could be a whole new world for Brinker. We'll see. Target, I guess you would say the target's up here between 213 and 400. Big fat target based on the last big pullback. This big pullback that was back here, measured bounce. Set the target right up here. CRDO, back to the roadmap line. AVL. And leverage on AVGO. TTD. Didn't hit the roadmap line. Potential for that to be a 4-hour bounce. 4-hour bounce. Move back above the 618. Could set it up for 146 on the upside. A-Lab. Did that hit? Yeah, that hit the daily roadmap line. Gonna take a gap fill move back up here to set up the entry for a potential move up to 161. FBL, 2x leverage on Facebook is just going parabolic. If that's going to like 1,000, this will go like ridiculously higher. 30% on, that'd be like 30% higher on Facebook, Meta. So this would be 60% potential up in here. So 30% higher on Facebook, take it 60%. So we're looking at something up in the 75 area on FBL. MU, just hovering. Hovering. It has the measured bounce sitting here. It's just not going yet. Now, if it crushes down below this 75 area, certainly below 70, it's probably game over. Ugly, ultra gold, popping, and potential to break out 110, 112. Yeah, we talked about this a while back. This indicated we were going to go higher on gold, Meta, 2x bull. Again, 60% higher potential if the underlying does it. So we're looking at 75 again then on that one. AVGX, 2x leverage on AVGO. If that can actually get going, new highs there. APH, Amphenol. Wrong, we were talking about them. It's funny. You're still around. Churning on the roadmap line. We were talking about them for a different reason, not for the stock chart. They make connectors, like electronic connectors. Resistance right there. TSLA. Probably this. As I said yesterday, these TS, leverage Teslas and Tesla chart itself all look better. Rongamer even said it looks best if it hit the roadmap line, make you feel better. COHR, that completed potential downside. We can pop back up, break through the gap down. Really needs to get above these highs up here, which makes it a limited upside, but lots of resistance going higher is what that means. So this is a resistance zone right here because of the gap down. Gap ups don't really matter. Gap downs matter. And then that right there, another resistance. It hit its head right there a lot of times, even before it made that high right there. And then the extension is not even that high. 120, possibly 126 right there. All right. TEM at the 618 area here. Looking to break above 87. We don't have enough roadmap line. No, not enough candles to make a roadmap line, so who knows. For sure, I don't usually trade new tickers because they don't have a history of performing and showing me that they behave properly. SMTC, 4-hour bounce, that high, that low. And watch for the resistance there. BX. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me this morning. I know you got lots of things you can do. We're looking for opportunities. BX looks like we're coming back down. Probably make a lower low. GDXU. Everybody's real quiet, so just thought I'd talk to you. I know everybody's listening to what I find here. GDXU, gold miners 3X. This is not performing like gold. Certainly lagging behind. Makes me want to look at NEM. And it's kind of same chart as NEM there on the GDXU. AEM. And crushing it to the highs there. 93. Possibly 98 above that. And then there's lots of crap. GDXJ. And junior miners not looking too bad. And GDX. And it's trying to break out. And then GDXU with the ultra. It's 3x leverage on those miners. If the miners are actually going to rip, this could be an opportunity here. Buy a few shares at 40. 72 target. If it can get going. That'd be, gosh, almost not quite a double, but almost a double. It's 80% upside. And people say you can't make money on shares. I mean, that's shares. You can make good money on shares and you don't have theta, you don't have IV, you don't have to guess right on the time frame. I mean, a lot of benefits there. It is leverage and it'll cut both ways. And if you're wrong, you know, if GDX goes down 50%, that goes down 100%. You could go bust. So be careful. Probably do a reverse split if it went down like that. That's the downside risk, you know. Can outperform to the downside. Like, oh, well, if something goes down 80%, you know, one of these leverage things, 3x leverage, you know, GDXU, that's a 3x leverage. So drop 50%, that's 150% down on GDXU. And you're like, oh, sugar, honey, iced tea, you know. But there again, it's based on a daily performance, not on a long-term performance. So you got to get all the, you know, there's a lot of nuance to it. LABU, Biotech 3X, probably going down. AGQ. Sitting here. Yeah, because Bitcoin's climbing. You know, what part of this don't you get? Bitcoin climbs. Trying to get near 107. Ultra Silver. If silver can get going, this will go from like 40 to potentially 51. That's a 25% upside. Not too shabby. ACMR. Stuck kind of at this roadmap line area. 618 above that. There's a lot of crap on that chart. Be careful. Looking at decliners. Now got whacked. Almost back to the roadmap line. CI, Sigma. I thought we might need to get one more lower low right down in here. We'll see what happens. Microsoft, like I said, that got whacked on earnings. Back to the uptrend of lows. If we break down below it, probably coming down here to 366. UPS, anybody remember me saying that didn't look done yet? When I drew that arrow here. Looky, looky, looky. Still going down. UPS could come back to the COVID low at this point. That might be rough. Caterpillar. Back to the roadmap line. This is not indicating a strong economy here. Deer, DE, indicates strength, but Caterpillar not. Something's up. One of the canaries in the coal mines not looking too healthy. Charter Communications. Probably going to retrace deeper. Whirlpool Company. Back to the roadmap line. Let's clean that one up. That high, that low. If we break above, could go up to 137, 141. Now, the problem here is that if we have less permits, less building permits, less housing starts, that's less appliances getting put into housing and apartments. It can directly affect Whirlpool. Be careful. That's like the bigger trend, bigger story going on that fits with that big downtrend that we're seeing on the chart. When you look at this big downtrend, that's potential for less housing, less purchases there. Dun, 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 dun. FNGU, potential to roll down here. Careful. Of course, it also has the potential to pop on up to that upper target around 713. TER got wrecked. Came close to the target. Golly. That could be done. It doesn't have to go down here. It made the lower low. It would look better if it goes on down, but it doesn't have to. Look best if we got on down a little bit, but that completes the pattern right there. That looks like 1, 2, 3. Could have a 4 and a 5. Be careful. May have more downside to go. Sherwin-Williams sitting on top of the roadmap line, not looking particularly bullish or bearish, either one. Unclear at the moment. Did hold under the 618 so far. Need to move above that to go higher. CRM, getting whacked. May come back to the roadmap line. That was a lower high. FTX, probably down with in sympathy with UPS. CRGX, well, that wet the bed right there. Biotech, be careful. Right. Their drug probably got some bad news. DGNX. I don't mess with biotech because the ability of charts to do that craziness. That can't trade it. Not enough candles, not enough data. CRS, back to the roadmap line. CLEU, China Liberal Education Holdings got whacked. Reverse split, dumpster fire. There's DE. Was down, now it's up. Was probably down in sympathy with CAT. It hit the big picture up target that I've had for a long time. We could go as high as 500. Be careful. That's probably going to top out and experience a retrace. MDB, stuck under the roadmap line. Still needs downside. It could go down here. There's the resistance at the upside. SIGI. That looks like it wants to go lower low. MSFU. Microsoft FU. And Microsoft Ultra. That looks like it's going to go lower. DDOG. Back to the roadmap line. Snow. Come on, just come back to the roadmap line, please. It did make a higher high, so now we could do the retrace, possibly. I want to see it hit the roadmap line before I get long with my full position. I bought one share down here, for those not knowing. DGX, Quest Diagnostics. I see one of these cars like every day. I think there's like an office, a lab office or something right next to me here. 172 on the upside. AOS. Watch for that to plummet out to the abyss. TSDD. Short Tesla does not, like, this is the caution here. Look, that does not look like it's performing. We did a reverse split. Not performing here. Even with Tesla's decline. Not performing at all. LHX. That looks like it's going to go down for a further decline. BFH. Back to the roadmap line. CMCSA. Comcast. Ooh. Ouch. Traditional media getting wrecked. This looks like it needs to go lower here. 26 maybe. MSFX. 2x leverage on Microsoft. Just chopping around. TSLQ. Golly, my nose itchy. Another short. Leverage short on Tesla and not performing. Has reverse split. TSCO. Tractor Supply, just churning on the roadmap line. Potential to get a bounce here. Not sure. Didn't stick it. We may need a lower low. MSFL, leverage long on Microsoft. Like I said, probably going down with Microsoft. Uber. We did scrape the targets a couple times, but that looks like it may need to move down here after making that higher high. Ash. That high, that low, that high. Could be done. Could have some further downside to go, but that could be done if we can set up a reversal, break up of the roadmap line. That would be good. Let's see. Big picture retrace-wise. Could have a little bit more downside to go. Potentially down here. That would be ideal. Actually set up a beautiful potential bounce from much higher. That'd be like 200 on the upside. That'd be almost a double on shares. That'd be pretty nice. STM just keeps grinding the abyss here. 18 and maybe back to the COVID low. ZSL, ultra short silver, getting wrecked. Yeah, it didn't do the pop. That's probably going back to the lows. Dust, probably going back to the lows. Also, all right, that's the list for the day. And the bonus trade, as promised, right here. T-Mobile fired off the entry. 70% historical win rate, 2.0 profit factor, 25 days on average, over 17 trades. Not statistically significant, but I mean, it may work. We have an $18 upside. Target's 253.91 and a stop below 207. You can let me know if you like it. TMUS right here. We retraced. We did pop a little bit there, and then we retraced it a little bit, so you can actually get in slightly lower. You can wait for more of a retrace if you think it's going to do it, but target up here. We talked about that yesterday. We got the close above, and that is the target. Bias for the day, kind of, I don't know, uncertain here. If we can bounce on that 15-minute roadmap line and get out of here, and we keep not getting any strength here. This is very choppy and overlapping. This may need another flush here before we can get out of here. Not sure. Be careful. That's unclear price action. It can just break out. If we do get a breakout above this 610, 620 area, probably ripping higher. But until we do that, it's probably is for some more chop. All right. Apple earnings coming up today. It looks like it might be a pop. Possibly. But it's also not confirming above the 618. So it also could do the Microsoft thing and right back down. Be careful. Apple did announce yesterday, or leaked whatever Bloomberg article came out, that they have been working with T-Mobile and Starlink to support direct to satellite on Apple phones through T-Mobile and Starlink. That's like global coverage, basically. So kind of neat technology. Be careful out there. Thanks for coming to the Morning Monster. We'll see you again tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, 9:15. We'll do it all over again. Look for the movers and the shakers. Remember, nobody's watching out for your account more than you. Take a vested interest in your well-being.